Imagine it's a freezing winter morning. You're sitting at your desk, doing your normal job, when suddenly someone tells you that a ship filled with explosives is about to blow up nearby. You have only seconds to decide: run and save yourself, or stay and try to save hundreds of strangers. One man faced that exact moment, and his decision turned him into an unsung hero. On the cold morning of December 6th, 1917, life started just like any other day. Workers headed to the docks, ships moved slowly through the harbor, and families were beginning their daily routines. At that time, the world was in the middle of. Halifax Harbor had become a critical gateway for ships carrying military supplies to Europe. Every day, vessels loaded with fuel, ammunition, and equipment passed through its busy waters. One of those ships was the French cargo vessel. But this ship was carrying something extremely dangerous. Inside its cargo holds were thousands of tons of explosives: TNT, picric acid, and benzol, chemicals so powerful that even a small spark could trigger a massive disaster. Essentially, the ship was a floating bomb sitting in the middle of the harbor. Then, at around 9 o'clock in the morning, everything went wrong. The Mont Blanc collided with another ship in the narrow harbor. The crash itself wasn't huge, but it was enough to start a fire on the deck. Flames quickly began spreading across the ship. At first, many people didn't realize the danger. Workers at the docks stopped to watch the burning ship. Residents looked out their windows. Some even gathered along the waterfront to see what was happening. To them, it looked like just another ship accident. But in reality, the entire harbor was moments away from catastrophe. Just a short distance away, inside a small railway office, a dispatcher named was working his shift. Suddenly, a message reached him. The burning ship in the harbor was packed with explosives and could explode at any second. At the same time, a passenger train carrying hundreds of people was heading toward Halifax. Within minutes, it would enter the area closest to the harbor, the exact place that would be destroyed if the ship exploded. Coleman instantly understood the danger. He had only seconds to decide what to do. He could run outside and escape while there was still time, or he could stay and try to warn the train. Coleman didn't hesitate. He rushed back to his telegraph machine and began tapping out an urgent emergency message, warning the incoming train to stop immediately. He kept repeating the message again and again to make sure it was received. Every second he stayed there meant risking his life. He knew the burning ship could explode at any moment, but he kept sending the warning. Then suddenly, the unthinkable happened. The ship exploded in what is now known as The blast was unbelievably powerful, equivalent to about 3,200 tons of TNT. It instantly became the largest man-made explosion the world had ever seen before the atomic bomb. The explosion flattened entire neighborhoods. Buildings collapsed, windows shattered miles away, and a powerful shockwave ripped through the city. A massive wave surged from the harbor and crashed into the shoreline. Within seconds, much of Halifax was destroyed. Nearly 2,000 people lost their lives, and thousands more were injured. Among those who died was Vince Coleman. But his final message had already been sent. Because of his warning, the passenger train stopped in time. More than 300 people on board were saved from what would have been certain death. If Coleman had chosen to run instead of sending that message, hundreds more families would have lost their loved ones that day. More than a century later, people still remember Vince Coleman's courage. He wasn't a soldier. He didn't fight on a battlefield. He was simply a railway worker doing his job. Yet in one brief moment, he showed extraordinary bravery and saved hundreds of lives. His story reminds us that true heroes aren't always famous. Sometimes they are ordinary people who, in the most critical moment, choose to think about others before themselves.